Hello and one and all, and happy Star Wars Day, everybody. And so, Revenge of the Sith recently had its 20th anniversary re-release. This year, its release. So recently, last week, I got to see Revenge of the Sith re-released in cinemas. And so, I've been wanting to do a re-review for some time, because last year, Phantom Menace had its 25th anniversary. Didn't see that in cinema, but remember seeing it in a 3D release back in 2012. But I saw Revenge of the Sith re-released, so I cannot wait to talk about Revenge of the Sith yet again. You guys know the drill. It is the third film in the prequel trilogy. It's directed by George Lucas, starring Hayden Christensen as Anakin Skywalker, Ian McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi, you name it. And so this takes place many few years after Attack of the Clones, where Anakin joins forces with Obi-Wan Kenobi and sets Palpatine free from the evil of Count Dooku. However, he falls prey to Palpatine and the Jedi's mind games and gives in to temptation. And so, this is like the biggest Star Wars event everyone was like looking forward to back in the day, because Anakin Skywalker is transferring into Darth Vader. And so, and you guys know the drill. I've been a Star Wars fan my whole life. If you follow me since the beginning of my YouTube channel, I reviewed first 6 Star Wars movies in honor of The Force Awakens. And now here I am talking about Revenge of the Sith yet again. It's wild the more I think about doing it again. Gosh. So, movie opens up after the opening crawl, with Anakin and Obi-Wan going in to Chancellor Palpatine. They're saving him. Of course, they're fighting Count Dooku. By the way, this movie, Revenge of the Sith, has 5 Jedi fight scenes. So it's them 2 against Count Dooku. You have Obi-Wan Kenobi going up against General Grievous. You have Mace Windu and some other Jedis going against Palpatine, and of course Anakin Skywalker saves Palpatine. Then you have Yoda versus Darth Sidious, and most importantly, Obi-Wan versus Anakin. So this is an action-packed Star Wars movie. And so, Palpatine, played by Ian McDiarmid, who is fantastic. You really get to see him a lot as Emperor Palpatine. Of course, mainly Darth Sidious, because that's what he's known for. Of course, you see their connection between each other, Anakin and Palpatine, particularly one moment where they're sitting down and Palpatine is just telling Anakin stories, which is pretty much one of the best scenes in Star Wars history, as far as I'm concerned. Is it possible to learn this power not from a Jedi? And Hayden Christensen is phenomenal in Revenge of the Sith. I think much better than he was in Attack of the Clones, because I don't really like Attack of the Clones that much. But Phantom Menace, I always have a soft spot for. I've come to appreciate that one. And you know what? I've come to appreciate Revenge of the Sith as well. And I love the movie. It's just probably the biggest Star Wars event, as I said, out there that many people have been waiting for. And this is probably the best theatre experience I've ever had with a Star Wars movie. It was just getting to see some iconic moments with "Hello there" from Obi-Wan, and of course Emperor saying, "Time has come. Execute Order 66." And of course the clones turn against the Jedi. And so you get to see some original characters. They're like Chewbacca. I mean, always great seeing Chewbacca and what Wookiees do, of course. And so the relationship between Anakin and Padme is just so great. I mean, Padme announcing that she's pregnant, and of course they're about to have kids soon. And of course, seeing Anakin and Obi-Wan Kenobi's relationship together is just great, particularly whenever they're all sitting down with all the other Jedis. And then, of course, getting to be separated from one another. And so, Mace Windu, along with other Jedis, truly believe that Chancellor Palpatine is a Sith. And so, Anakin saves Palpatine and, of course, turns to the dark side, where Palpatine calls him Darth Vader. And then, of course, they execute Order 66. So this movie pretty much creates the whole Order 66 thing. Of course, if you see in later Star Wars products, like on Disney+, Order 66 is pretty much mentioned a lot in those properties. And then, of course, we do get the big fights coming to near the end of the film with Palpatine versus Yoda and Anakin versus Obi-Wan. And so they're, of course, dueling each other out. And, you know, and although the visual effects may be a bit dated, but to my knowledge, they still look pretty good, honestly. And I don't care if they look dated. I love the way they look. And yeah, this movie's not perfect. I mean, no movie ever is. I mean, although I love the movie a lot more than I used to, because I gave Revenge of the Sith a 7 out of 10 when I did out of 10s pre-2020. But post-2020, I now do letter grades. But now I only do the A ratings. So you might see that in a bit, guys. And so, spoiler alert, I know. But of course, guys, if you haven't seen Revenge of the Sith, why? Go watch Revenge of the Sith. Yes, there's people born every day, but go watch Revenge of the Sith. Of course, watch other Star Wars stuff before you watch Revenge of the Sith. You can all look up the drill yourselves, okay? On Star Wars, okay? Have to have your own independence for your knowledge, okay? And so, of course, Anakin is being burnt out after being beaten by Obi-Wan Kenobi. Of course, Sidious comes over and saves him. And then, of course, turns over to the armor, where he actually becomes Darth Vader. And then, of course, it's very nicely edited. This is a very well-edited Star Wars movie, particularly with some lightsaber fight scenes, particularly with the Anakin and Obi-Wan fight, the Darth Sidious and Yoda fight, and of course when Anakin / Darth Vader is getting put together again, and of course Padme having kids Luke and Leia, and then of course Darth Vader's armor is made him very fixed and a lot better. And of course you do get the dialogue "no," which I'm still not really a fan of, but then again, that's just George Lucas. I'm afraid he likes to do specials, as well, at least with just the original films. But filmmakers are filmmakers. They are what they are. You just gotta accept it whether you like it or not. And so of course, you know, Obi-Wan has agreed to look after Luke, and then of course takes him to Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen, and then of course that wraps up the end of Revenge of the Sith. And so, guys, really the most important re-review on this movie for me is that I like it a lot more than I used to, as I did with Phantom Menace last year when I reviewed Phantom Menace. But seeing Revenge of the Sith in the cinema, re-released for the first time, for me anyway, it was just a true experience, one of the best theatre experiences I've had, and probably the best Star Wars experience I've ever had. And that's truly saying something. So overall, guys, Revenge of the Sith, simply put, it's definitely one of my favourite Star Wars movies out there, and it's got to be the best prequel, I think, anyway. In all honesty, I'm kind of battling out whether I like this more than Return of the Jedi or not, but if I'm being honest with you, I kind of do, to be honest with you. I'm going to give Star Wars Episode 3 Revenge of the Sith an A. There you go, guys. That is my re-review on Star Wars Revenge of the Sith. Comment down below, let me know what you guys think of Revenge of the Sith. Did you see this when it was re-released in your area? Or what do you think of this movie? Comment below, let me know. Where does it rank amongst the Star Wars films in your opinion? Let me know below. And may the 4th be with you guys. Don't do anything stupid. Actually do something Star Warsy. If you're a Star Wars fan, if you like Star Wars, do something that's Star Warsy. I mean, I'm playing some Star Wars games at the minute. I mean, I'm starting to play the Clone Wars PS2 game, which I found on PlayStation Plus. And so last year, I'm really starting to enjoy that. Jedi Outcast, game to play Fallen Order, and Jedi Survivor, even though I've completed those games already. Still having fun. I love Star Wars. And I've always had. And so, comment, like, subscribe, share the video, notify that bell before you leave. If you're new, please feel free to do all the things that I just said. And if you're a returner, welcome back. And hope you're enjoying the content so far. And as always, until my next video, I shall see you then, and peace.